Statement that was issued yesterday by the Upper House branch of the Ghana Association of Medical Laboratory Scientists. Members were directed to wear red armbands and also kept these bands on the entrances and also the doors of the various facilities. Gamel Emmanuel Ajuroku is the Upper House region chair of the association.
When you come to the lab, there is not going to be any service rendered. And in fact, you not even see us at the work site, but we are not going to come here. All our doors will be closed. So we are not going to render any laboratory service. Blood bank service will not be there. Emergency service will not be there. Even reports that we write, we will not submit any reports to any this weather deems or whatever. We will not even write any report.
Many of the patients who came to the hospital and were directed to come to the lab came with their samples, but unfortunately they were turned away. With a 13-month-old baby strapped at her back, 30-year-old mother of two, Susolo Safura, hails from Bobale in the Sisala East municipality and came to the Wa Municipal Hospital for treatment. She was then directed by a medical doctor to go to the hospital's laboratory for tests, which she did, but was turned away as a result of the strike. Where are you going now?
I'm going to the house.
You're going to the house. Are you not going to see the lab test at any other facility?
Once they said they are on strike, I know wherever I go, they'll say they are on strike.
But what about private? They should be working.
I don't have money to go.
Another who bears the brand of the indefinite strike is 32-year-old Abdullahi Tijani, whose wife delivered through cesarean section. The wife felt unwell after the cesarean operation, and they gave him the blood samples to come to the laboratory for testing. Manager of the Wa Municipal Hospital Laboratory, Teresa Salifu, explained why the clients have been turned away.
We are not happy because the clients, some of them are our relatives, and our motto is service to humanity. We would love to serve, but we would not love to serve under any oppression. And that is, we need to work with rules and regulations. And according to Act 857, the lab is capable of managing itself. You need a license to practice as a medical lab scientist. And we have gone through the training, we've gone through the licensure, and we are working here. Anybody that does not have the license to practice as a lab person should not be in the lab. That is our only position. And we should be given the opportunity to head whatever institution that we are working with.
The situation at the Upper West Regional Hospital Laboratory was not different, as it looks more like a ghost laboratory. Only a couple of the laboratory scientists were spotted by our cameras posting notices on the doors, whilst over 24 seats at the waiting area remain empty. The situation at private laboratories in the Wa municipality is quite different. For them, it's business as usual. Most of the patients who went to the Wa Municipal Hospital Laboratory and were unattended to found their way at private laboratories. One of them is Bill Medical Laboratory, who seem to be enjoying from the windfall. Dr. Nafisa Siddiqui is one of the lab scientists here.
So we are making business. Once the government sector is on strike, all clients, I'm sure, will be directed to the private sector to run tests.
So you are making it, there's a windfall?
Yes.
The full name?
Even though we are not happy about it, but we need something from them, and that is about the leadership. We can equally head our laboratories. Dr.
Isaac Dere first went to the Municipal Hospital Laboratory with samples of blood for testing, but had the door shut on him. He however found solace at the Bill's Laboratory.
I have a car and I drive, so I'm wondering, those who are incapacitated, those who are disabled, and they also asked to move to a private lab to do tests, or those who don't even have the financial ability to do that, what happens? You see that we are further pushing them into a position that a very disadvantaged position.
Reporting for JoyNews, Rafiq Salam. Wow.
So Rafiq Salam will be joining us with the very latest as this action enters day 2 Isaac Nonya is our Savannah region correspondent. He also gave us an update. We'll be joined by Labour dispute resolution expert and consultant, CEO of GAME and GAME Group, Austin Game, as well as the Medical Association, the Ghana Association of Medical Laboratory Scientists spokesperson, Dr. Dennis Jesse. But let's go to Isaac Nonya. Isaac, tell us where you are. What can you report on day 2? Hello, Isaac. Isaac, kindly unmute, okay, so we can hear you.
Hello.
Yes, go ahead, Isaac.
Hello.
Isaac, what can you report this morning? Where are you, first of all?
Can you hear me?
Isaac, I can hear you. Tell me where you are. What's the situation?
I'm right here at the West Gonja Municipal Hospital. And I must say, the facility here is under check. And the situation here is different because the facilities applying a human face, only that they have just tying red bands within the premises, but I can say they are working. The source that spoke to me told me that they are adopted a wait-and-see attitude, and for that matter, being a human institution and the only facility within the municipality, they need to do that to save lives. Also, I spoke with the medical superintendent of the facility, one Dr. Vital Lisandari. He said, yes, it's true. The people are working just at that time. And I could see that somebody was tidying the environment, and then offices were opened when I arrived here some few minutes ago. So West Gonja Municipality lab scientists are working. They are not on strike, and people are coming patronizing their services.
Okay, well, that's good news. Isaac Nonya reporting from the West Gonja Municipality. Let's go to Rafiq Salam. We had his reports yesterday, but what's the situation today? Rafiq, good morning. Is it same as yesterday?
Good morning, Mababe. It's still same. You can see I'm standing just in front of the One Municipal Hospital Laboratory, and you can see that the door is closed with a red band tied to the door handles. And so there's nothing happening at the One Municipal Hospital Laboratory. The people or the workers, the laboratory scientists are not here. You can't see anybody here. It's just like a ghost town. Nobody's here. Even in front here, it's even untidy. It's like the place has not even been swept up for days. So it's like nobody's here.
Are patients showing up though?
I haven't seen any patient around because the door is completely shut. It's completely locked, and then the situation is also same at the Upper West Regional Hospital. So the workers are not opposed. They have locked the laboratory.
Rafiq, thank you very much. Rafiq Salam is our colleague reporting from WA. That's the WA Municipal Hospital. The laboratories where he's reporting from this morning. Situation is not different from what he reported on yesterday. The workers are simply not working. Dr. Dennis Jesse, SPRO for the Ghana Association of Medical Laboratory Scientists. He explained why they're taking this action this week, and he's joining us back, particularly because there's been some development. So good morning to you, if you can hear me, Dr. Jesse.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, great. Thank you for joining me on this conversation. Mr. Game, if you can hear me, good morning.
Good morning, my friend, Amavi.
Yes, sir. Thanks for joining. I know that you've been monitoring the situation, but let me start with Dr. Dennis Jesse. Your strike has taken on another level because your colleagues from the other regions, some of the other regions, in solidarity with what's happening at the Komfanoche Teaching Hospital, they've joined. But the National Labour Commission has had some words to say about this action. First of all, have they served you with some document asking you to appear before them?
Thank you very much. For now, it's just communication that we have picked in the media space and some publication, but it's quite unfortunate we have not received any communication from the Labour Commission officially.
And you haven't had phone calls from either the Ministry of Health or the National Labour Commission or the Ministry of Labour?
The Ministry of Health actually, earlier on, when Konfanochi Teaching Hospital had embarked on the sit-down strike, had given indication we should go and bring proposals and come and sit on the matter. And I think they had given a 3-week window period for us to look into it. And we have done that. They gave us up to yesterday to submit a proposal. That has gone, as far as I'm concerned. So what we actually added is that because of the way and manner the various regional executive committees and the heads of the chapters are furious with the matter and not ready to even listen to the leadership, we were pleading with the ministry if the matter could be looked at and brought earlier rather than hoping to see the end of it in 3 weeks space. We think that it is just too long a time, that if it could be done earlier, it will help all of us.
So at the moment, where are the places that your colleagues are not working?
As per monitoring, so far it was Western region that had not started their action as of yesterday. And they had given indication that they might equally be doing the same from today onwards.
So help us understand though, were you already in conversations with the National Labour Commission?
The National Labour Commission, this particular issue, whatever is fundamental to this problem we are seeing, is with the Labour Commission. In fact, if you remember the National Health Laboratory policy that we had to embark on a strike action in 2016. And fast forward somewhere 2018, is sitting with the Labour Commission when we had to go into arbitration, when we had to go and sit down and discuss the matter. Even along the line, we had to get an IETS committee to come and look into the impasse. What is the problem? The problem is fundamentally doctors seeking to supervise laboratory scientists. And we say that that's not going to happen because laboratory scientists have come of age. They are equally competent. They have the expertise, masters to degree, PhD, and even consultants. Why do we need to duplicate a specialist medic to go to the college and come and supervise them? So that has been the bone of contention. And that is why the policy since 2013 has not been implemented. So for that reason, we are having this problem, and it's with the Labour Commission. We have gone there. For me personally, I have joined the team on 2 occasions at the Labour Commission when we have not been able to get finality to the situation. So for me, it was a simple call that the ministry and at the Labour Commission could have helped resolve this matter. And it's quite unfortunate that along the line, as we are still discussing, not knowing when the matter is going to be resolved at the Labour Commission, Konfanochi springs up with this particular appointment, which no other discussion is helping us to move forward. So it's with the Labour Commission. And that is why it's at times difficult for you to get some of these calls again and have the belief that you are going there and likely to get a better resolution. Anything different from what you have seen before.
Okay, let me bring in labor dispute resolution expert and consultant, Mr. Austin Game. Mr. Game, this has been brewing really, and because it's a crucial area of health, I mean, our understanding really is that persons in this kind of profession should not even be striking in the first place. But they did announce it. We knew it was going to come to this point if nobody intervened. And is it proper to say that authorities just sat there, watch for it to get to this point?
Thank you, Mamavi. You know, we, as a nation, we perhaps have not fully learned our lessons. Knowing that we could have situations like this in the future. When the labor law was being written, it was agreed that a matter affecting people who are considered to be working in a place like this has to be attended to within 72 hours when they report a matter of concern to them. Unfortunately, I do know not only the lab scientists, many other organizations where they work under such situations, when their matter crop up, it does appear people are a bit lackadaisical about getting the matter resolved. They will wait till there is pressure. Fortunately for us, this matter, though it might be serious. It's not a very fatal thing. It's not about money. It's not about creating so much problem. It's a structural problem they have. And this structural problem can be resolved, structural, of course, and relationship. That generally is the concern they have. It has to be attended to immediately. And I guess that today, though today even is too late, people should sit around within 12 hours. They should be able to resolve this matter. Once they get seated, I believe the people will go back to work, and then they can continue and resolve it as quickly as possible.
My understanding is that the positions are a bit entrenched because the laboratory scientists say until these two persons who have been appointed at Konfanoche are removed, they're not going to give up this fight.
It might seem so, but as soon as you get seated around a table, especially if the Labour Commission would put on the hat of an impartiality and ensure that they engage the people and discuss it in the form of a real labor relationship matter and not a master-servant issue, I believe they will listen, because they have said that they've been told to wait till 3 weeks. That is quite problematic. That's not what, practically, that's not what the law expects people who are supposed to handle it to do. They have to do it dispassionately. Within 72 hours, this matter should be resolved. And there are expertise in the country, I believe, among the top echelon there. And we are about at least some 14 million elderly people in this country who can sit around and have this matter resolved. Why should we wait? And watching the pictures on your screen, I got a little bit frightened about the villages where if this thing is happening, people could lose their lives.
You know, this thing happened from the Konfanoche Teaching Hospital, and the hospital administration had explained that it was a board decision to appoint the two. And so without a proper board in place, they can't rescind that decision. Would the issue before the Labour Commission resolve what is playing out also at the Konfanoche Teaching Hospital?
The Labour Commission has several ways of handling matters of this nature. They have powers also to give orders that are dovetailed into the labor law and best practices. I think that if this thing started, I heard the person you interviewed said, since 2013. So it's not about today, but anything of yesterday that cannot be handled quickly today, referencing yesterday is of no consequence. What we need to do is to handle this matter today and stop referencing what happened yesterday. They can order that the two gentlemen should not necessarily step aside. They are doctors. They can work elsewhere within the health fraternity, so that people will be saved, lives will be saved before we start running, helter-skelter. So I think that the long and short of it is that if there is no board, we have government, we have ministry, we have authorities, we have powers in place. In fact, Parliament is there. The president is vested with enormous powers. Anything can be done.
Before I come to you, Dr. JC, let me go to Wale. My colleague Eliasu Tanko is standing by to give us a live report. Eliasu, where exactly are you and what's the situation?
Well, I'm currently at the lab department, and as you can see where I'm currently standing, this is one of the offices of the department, and this is the Black Bank department. And as you can see, this is a red banner. It has been locked and tied with a red banner. And I can show you once again, this is the department proper, and this is supposed to be a waiting area, but because of lack of infrastructure, this particular waiting area has also been converted. And understand this is a sample collection point. And as you can see, we have red banners also tied to this particular facility. And behind me, on my left, is also the office where the test, we understand, is done. And as you can see, this is also a red band that has been tied to the door. My understanding is that this door is faulty and is supposed to be locked. So they are waiting for this particular door to be fixed so that it can be locked proper. I have been here, I have met some people, especially pregnant women. I have seen about 3, 4 of them currently here to get a laboratory service. I met one gentleman who said he brought his wife here, and they are coming all the way from a community called Zanguvuga, which is some kilometers away from the municipal capital itself. He has to travel on a very bad route to reach here. Unfortunately, he's been asked to go back because officials here are not working. Several of them, as I talk to you, several of them keep coming in, most of them pregnant women, and they are here for this particular test. But as I speak to you, officials have not even come to work. I have not seen any official or any worker here to attend to these particular people. And so I can tell you that the strike is in full force here in the Wale Wale Municipal Hospital.
So, Eliasu, when you go to the bigger cities, there are private medical laboratories that patients turn to use as an option. How is it like at Wale Wale?
Well, they are not bigger cities. This is the only referral point aside from the hospital in Nalergo, which is partly a private owned, but this is a government facility, and it's only the major referral point in the northeast region here. And so they are not bigger cities where we have laboratory tests in those areas, except this particular facility. And as I just told you, the situation is very, very critical because there are no workers here to attend to the patients who keep coming.
Eliasu, thank you for the updates this morning. Eliasu Tanko reporting from Wale Wale Hospital. Dr. Dennis Jesse, we can sit here in Accra, sit in Kumasi and Takoradi, and patients would have options to use private laboratory services. But in places such as Wale Wale, they don't have the luxury. Why would your men in such places embark on an action like that when you know that lives will be at stake? These are patients who have traveled from very far places. They've been referred to this facility, and they can have their lab test done.
My dear, it's quite unfortunate. And I don't know, for all this while, if ideas as brilliant as Mr. Austin Game had actually put across when he was making the submission had been heeded. I'm not sure they might have even contacted him throughout these discussions and along the lines. And at times you have the cause to feel that because you are dealing with superpowers, you are dealing with medical doctors, you are dealing with consultants of the Ghana College of Physicians and Surgeons, and people wouldn't want to call a spade a spade. The fact of the matter is that people are holding on to the profession. The profession has suffered way back 1973. It took up to 2013 before we could get a regulation. We have all seen the unseen hands controlling and suppressing the lab never growing. And people are still dazed with the fact that the lab scientist of today is having the degree, the master's, the PhD, also a consultant of the West African Postgraduate College of Medical Lab Science. UDS is now training Doctor of Medical Lab Science products. And even still, people are dazed by it and still think we are the technicians of age, lab technicians. So they think that we need to be supervised. So if you have that agenda, that concept, that thing you are working towards, and you bring 2 of such people to initiate the process, we should be daft and sit aloof. That is the problem. So as a matter of urgency, if that thing is seen as, Mama B, we are talking about here, Why can't we call Confanochi to withdraw that appointment which is causing the problem? These people were not initially brought to the lab department. They were at the blood bank before they went to school, came back to oncology, went to internal medicine, and in a space of time, split of a second, you reassign them to the lab. What necessitated that? Fast forward, you bring a checklist to do accreditation in Confanochi because that is to certify a recommendation, which in 2012 had said that remove the person who is in charge of that place because that person is not a medic. Put a medic there. Now you bring two people who are medics in that space, and you think that we should be ignorant of what is being worked on for these people to come and manage and supervise us and validate our results. That is the problem, because our leaders cannot speak the truth to who the medical doctor is, to the deeds of the medical doctors. You saw the release by the GMA. The employer has the right to appoint and assign. So wherever we want to put the people, irrespective of what the law says, what the guidelines says, what the policies are, the employer has a right. A minister is the one to call the shots because his subordinate, who is now the CEO, is what has caused the problem. Why can't we call them to order?
Mr. Gale, I don't know if you sense the bitterness and anger. It almost sounds like a clash of professions. One part thinking that the other feels a lot more superior than them. Do you get that sense? Because I've been talking to them for a while now, and that's the impression that I'm getting.
Yeah, thank you. Since yesterday, your sister stations and so forth who called me, I said this is purely nothing but structural and relationship concern that they have. It can be addressed. These things are all over. It's not only in the medical system. You have it in the banks. You have it in various other places, and it has been addressed. Some are being addressed to the best of my knowledge. I know some which are being addressed now elsewhere. Structural problems can be very devastating than money. And so I think that I want to plead once again that we should stop this business of prerogative of authorities. Relationship matters. That's why you have plenty divorces around, because people feel I am the one who is in charge. I can do whatever I like. It's not about do what you like. It's about relationship. So here we are now. Some people are suffering. People may even die. But the people who might be responsible for it are somewhere, maybe eating some banku and tilapia now. So I want to honestly plead that they should sit around a table now and take simple, minutes and come to conclusion. I'm not forcing it on them, that for now, for the sake of lives, let the people be transferred to another department. Let them not appoint any scientists for now. Then they can go into the matter within some hours. They should be able to resolve it. I think it should be handled expeditiously because it's about life and death.
Dr. Jesse, apologies there. Dr. Jesse, yesterday on News Nights on Joy FM, the National Labour Commission did say that you could be punished for what you're doing. They could decide to not pay you for the period that you're striking. You could also be fired from the jobs that you have because somebody has employed you. Did you get that message?
If actually I knew this will come up in the discussion, I would have shown you text messages on our various platforms. As a PRO, I monitor all regional platforms. I monitor all chapter platforms. And I can show you if that is the way for us to go. We are ready for it. I think it's not a problem at all. Because if the regions can defy the orders of the national executive officers, after going to the ministry and they saying that they will resolve the matter in 3 weeks, because of the urgency, 3 weeks, you have precedents from 2016 sitting at the Labour Commission, no resolution. Everybody is playing the ostrich. Then now it comes up again, you say 3 weeks, because you can't call somebody to order, ask the person to rescind a decision which is causing a problem. Because it's about medical doctors, because it's about superiors. They are in charge of the health service. And now we think that is the easier way out. Your pay, your salary. No problem. Already they want to get private sector people to come and run. Let them go to Walawale and the Salaga area and get the private facilities to run. If it's about salaries, when we get to that bridge, I believe we are going to cross it. If it's going to take us moving out and giving the space, giving the structure, giving the organogram, the personnel, the practice of lab medicine to the people that the laws don't recognize now, go and check at 857 part 2. The Ghana College of Physicians and Surgeons are now asking for law review for these people to be able to practice. Why can't we wait for that? Because they are superpowers, they can impose. When the criminal out there is being arrested because they are flouting the law, these people can rather be pushed on people to cause a strike and let Ghanaians suffer. We are ready for that. And it's easier for everybody to call on the lab scientists, oh, keep cool. Come and let's sit and talk. How did the talking at the Labour Commission since 2016, how did it end? Did we all not go to sleep upon reminders and reminders till this thing came up again?
So do I get the sense that you and your colleagues don't care if you're fired, if you lose your jobs, if you're not paid for the period that you've been sitting and not working?
If that is the way they want to solve the problem, I think I can sense that members are ready for that.
But you know, you're not.
I believe strongly people were having however they survived.
But you're not working for them. You're working.
If they think that is the way to solve the problem and let Ghanaians suffer, I think when we get to that bridge, we will cross it.
Mr. Game, how do you take the whole issue of the punishment coming into the conversation at this point when there is already an issue?
Well, you know, inclusion is not a figure of speech. Getting people together, you know, around a table and talking about a matter is very important. If they can invite them, they are human beings. They have a lot of respect for their clients. That is the customers who come to them. I believe they empathize with them. So clearly, I want to plead with whoever issued that statement and whoever will say anything going forward should know that lives are at stake. We don't need to have an inflammatory comments either from them or from anyone. I believe the president listens to your station. He knows what is good for the nation. He should take steps and get people who need to talk about this issue to talk. It does appear as if gradually some of them are losing confidence in some of the bodies that may talk. But I want to plead with them also. The Labour Commission is an unbiased body. If anyone just made a statement, it's fine. But the commission itself can invite them and they should respect it. And I believe that in the next, they don't need to wait till next week, Wednesday. They can always invite them. Could be today, could be even tomorrow, because Saturday is also a day. Sunday is also another day. Somebody should invite them and let them sit down and talk. They are human beings, they will listen. They may not even take away the two people in Confanoche immediately, but once they know that people respect them and they want to attend to the issue, they will decide the way forward. I believe strongly they can do that. So I want to join you and plead with them that they should consider the rural people. Those of us in Accra, Tema, Kumasi, maybe the big cities, maybe can afford additional 10 cities to go to a private sector to go and handle our blood issues. But the rural people who we don't know are equally important. So I want to plead with them. They should consider them. And once they are invited, they should respond and they should see the way forward. But this is a structural problem. It can be handled. I don't see this to be a big issue at all.
Comments from you. I want to go to my colleague, Anas Sabit, who is in Techiman, just for another report. Yesterday, Anas, you reported for us. You talked about a facility that caters for women and children and the lab not operating and the impact it was having. Where are you today and what's the situation?
We are at the same facility. It is the largest government or health facility in the municipality, which is Techiman. And this is the regional capital, so a lot of women and children rush to this particular hospital when they are in seek of medical attention. Their offices remain closed. Yesterday, I indicated that members of the association, the Ghana Association of Medical Laboratory Scientists, were in a meeting at the regional level together with the regional health directorates. After several hours of that meeting, it turned out that they are continuing with their strike. They told me their needs were not met by the regional health directorate. And so until that is done, they are continuing with the strike action in solidarity with their colleagues at the Confanochi Teaching Hospital. I got here quite early. I met some few patients, but the offices, like I said earlier, remain closed with no one inside to attend to patients who need lab tests this morning. So
do you see patients around?
Yes, there are patients around. Apart from the medical, the laboratory units, the other departments of the hospital is operating. So you check at the OPD side where the vitals of these patients is being checked. We have patients there seated and they are being attended to. I want to take you in there. But when you get to the door of the office of the medical laboratory, you realize that the office is closed. So this is the OPD area, vitals of patients being checked. You could see patients in, attempt to get health assistance. But I'm heading towards the office of the lab, where I know there's this red band that has been here since Tuesday with this inscription written on it, if you could see from that end. And the door is closed. No one is here to respond to our questions. We know they are continuing their strike, like the original chairman told me yesterday. They are unable to, iron their differences with the regional Ghana Health Service at the regional level. So they are continuing their strike, and this place remains closed. Yes, I have a patient here who is even asking me if they are not working today. She's not aware. And of course, this is the situation we are facing here at the Abefi Women and Children Hospital.
Yeah, but Anas, are there options for them to use private laboratories?
Yes, that is what they have been relying on from yesterday. From the consulting room, if you have any lab test to do, you have to walk out there to the private labs outside. And I don't see any closer to this particular facility. They have to go miles away from this place to do that. Some of them go and they don't return at all because of the distance. And some of them also, yesterday, they told me the cost involved at the private laboratories is unbearable. They cannot afford it. And so for these patients who are here, it is a huge blow to them what is happening. They are calling on authorities to come to their aid as early as possible.
Anas, thank you very much. Anas reporting from Techiman. Issue really is same as yesterday. Dr. Jesse, just before we wrap up, you don't have all your members listening to the leadership of the association. So I'm wondering how they will all get to listen to you, because if you look at the impacts in other areas, it's not the same as the big cities as we've talked about. But we want the members to listen to the top. If they are not listening to the top, how can you get information down to them?
Yeah, so the situation is that simple. Yesterday, we submitted a proposal to the ministry. We think that the 3 weeks doesn't express the urgency with which they want to resolve the matter. We think that we can do it earlier than. We think that we have enough information from the past to guide us. We think that the ministry and the minister for that matter, if even the president, has the power to correct whatever is erupting from Confanochi and causing this mess. It's a matter of being bold, speaking to the people at the helm of affairs in Confanochi. Because these people, as I said, were in the internal medicine. They can go there. Let's have the matter at the Labour Committee resolved. A position arrived, and people can go. It's a structural matter, as Mr. Austin said.
Yeah, but
unfortunately, in the public eye, they want to make it like somebody is chasing people from the lab. No. Cleaners come to the lab, nurses come to the lab, doctors all the years have been coming to discuss in the lab.
Yeah, Dr. Jesse, so what do your members want to hear? What do they want to hear before they go back?
People have been reassigned. Simple. Because it was a matter in Convanoche. Have we asked why it's escalated to the various regions and chapters? Because they see an agenda which has been put down in pen, black and white, being initiated in Convanoche. And you think that they will sit to be at the district level and wait for that to happen? This agenda, if allowed to go in that structure, will mean that me, as a level of consultant, I can't even operate my private lab because I will leave a lab physician to come and validate my results. Is that what we want? That is the structure. It's not about coming to lab space. Lab space, nobody cares who comes there. But if you are coming there, come and operate your trade, your profession. You can't come and lord your profession over mine. So that cannot happen. We won't allow it. So it's not about lab space. That is what they are putting out there. And Prof. Akosa had equally made saying, it's never about lab space. So we don't own the space. How can we control it? But the practice of the trade, the profession, just as GMDC is responsible for medical doctors, Allied Health Professional Council responsible for allied health professionals, for that matter herein, the med lab scientists, let it remain as such. At the ministry, we have structures all the way for the allied health that we can have the directors over there. And you are saying that the medical doctors should be directors of allied health practitioners. Is that what we want as a country? And that is what has been initiated in Convanoche. It's a structural problem, not space, not working together, not relationship. They can't lord over us. That was taken as best as simple, and as that.
Okay, Mr. Game, finally, I worry that the members on the ground are not necessarily listening to the leadership. And if that really is the case, then we might have a big problem because they have an objective, which is they want to hear that the two persons have been withdrawn before they can go back to work. So even if leadership agrees that we're going to sit with the National Labour Commission and other stakeholders, their following may not necessarily follow.
Yeah, they fear for their future. That's the reason. And that's exactly what I was trying to tell you. Look, we are consultants to the nurses. These 82,000 plus nurses, we are their consultants. And I can tell you, when they decided to go on strike, we had sleepless nights. We made sure that a meeting was called. I spoke to those who matter and made sure that we got them to agree and for us to have this matter resolved. When it was becoming rough, I made sure that we signed a joint letter, went to Labour Commission and have this matter addressed. Somebody should sit up. Somebody should work. Somebody should have a sleepless night. We don't just accept positions for the sake of it. It's urgent. It's urgent. This is life and death matter. And it's a structural problem. It can be handled as quickly as possible, regardless of the fact that they are not listening to their leadership. They may not want people to just go to a meeting and come and tell them stories. There is always a way, if you use language appropriately, people will respond positively to it. I think that is about leadership. That is it.
Well, Mr. Game, I really appreciate your time. Thank you very much for the thoughts that you share with us. Dr. Jesse, just stay with me. I want to go to Ohimin Teria. He's reporting from the Menchia Hospital. He will also be speaking to the Ashanti Regional Chairman of the Lab Scientists, Eric Kofi Adu. Ohime, good morning. What's the situation? Hello, Ohime, can you hear me?
Mama V, I can hear you.
Okay, great. Paint the picture for us, Ohime. What is the difference between yesterday and today?
Mama V, I must say that nothing has changed as far as the Ghana Medical Association of Laboratory Scientists strike is concerned. Most of the patients who need laboratory services are not getting them from Ashanti region.
And the situation is far worse than what it used to be. 3 days ago, it was an action being embarked upon by the scientists at Komfanochi Teaching Hospital. But what we are seeing now is that the action has been escalated, and almost Ghana Health Service run facility with medical laboratories have joined this action. And then we are also told those from CHAG are also, have also come on board. So what it means is that patients in the region who need laboratory services in the Ashanti region are not getting them. What they need to do now is to resort to private facilities where they can get these services. So I have been trying to speak to the leadership of the association in the Ashanti region, and what they tell me is that they are happy so far with how the strike action has gone. So I have the Ashanti regional chairman of the association, Eric Kofi Edu, with me to throw more light on this action and what they have found so far. Good morning.
Good morning.
So as far as your association is concerned, are you happy with the kind of respect, the kind of, the due attention that your members have given to this action?
Yes, I must say I'm very happy about how our members have actually been very cooperative. The issue is one that really hurts everybody. And so I believe that once we call for members to adhere to directives, members also complied. It is very sad and it's very disheartening for the issue to escalate up to this level.
Let me find out from you. You are the regional chairman. How come you couldn't resolve the issue at Komfanochi for it to be escalated to the regional and now it has become a national issue?
I must say that we did everything in our own way to actually try to resolve the issue. I remember going to see the Komfanochi CEO myself and then the president of our association. And then we spoke with him and then we said that this issue is an issue that can be handled very easily and not to be escalated up to this level. But the excuse the board and the management, the CEO and the management gave us was that there's no board in place to really look into this issue. But then what we said was that when you are appointing these two lab physicians, you didn't consult the board, but to appoint them. So if it has come for you to recall them back, why are you waiting to speak to the board? And so we thought that this could have been handled easily. Because when we said, let us come to the table and resolve this issue, what we were expecting the Labour Commission to do, or what we were expecting the Minister of Health to do, was to just speak to the CEO and said, oh, you appointed these people into the labs. Just call them back and let's have a level playing field so that we can sit down and resolve the issue.
So this is the Menchia Government Hospital. Yes. Help us understand, how are you, treating your patients who need laboratory service here?
I mean, it's unfortunate. Once we've called for the strike, there's nothing that we can do. It's very disheartening to see patients go up and down and then asking for lab tests to be done. But there's nothing that we can do. Now the private are the ones that are helping out. But I'm telling you that in no time, if the issue is not resolved, I bet to say that the private would also join, because we have our members who are also working in the private labs. And so if the issue is not resolved as early as we expected, the private would also join.
And is this something that you are pleased with, to hear that the private laboratories will join your action, so you deprive your patients of, laboratory service?
We've always not want this to happen. I mean, I live in Kumasi, my mother is in Accra. My sister is in Takoradi. And so even as I'm speaking with you now, I don't even know if my mother needs a lab service, or I don't even know if my sister in Takoradi needs those services. And so it is not something that we pray for it to happen. It is not something that we cherish it happening. We are not excited. We are not happy, especially these days where there's COVID and the president of the land is also doing everything possible to get even vaccines to vaccinate his countrymen and women. And so we wish this issue is just resolved once and for all. It is an issue that can be handled very easily. And then I keep saying that the same issue happened at Kolebu Teaching Hospital. The same happened at the Tamale Teaching Hospital. Why didn't we take a cue from all those things and then realize that this issue is an issue that needs to be tackled once and for all? As Ghanaians, why should we sit down for this thing to escalate, for patients to suffer?
Yes, you are Ghanaian, so probably you could have done something to save the situation. Can't you ask your members to go back to post once the National Labour Commission, for instance, has given the assurance that the issue will be resolved as quick as possible?
And I tell you that we will just call our members to go back to post today and now. If the Minister of Health just pick a phone and call the CEO of Confanachi and say that recall the 2 lab physicians that you posted to at the lab. Once they are recalled back and then posted to any of the department, we will call our members today to report to work. That is all that we want. That is all that we are asking. That before we go to the table, let us have a level playing field so that we can go and talk. But you don't ask us to come for negotiations and then give an advantage to one party, because the issue at hand is about the LPs. So just recall them and then let's have a level playing field and then we'll talk. That's all that we're asking for. So if they recall them today, we'll call our members to come to work.
So you want the laboratory physicians to be withdraw from the labs so you go to the negotiation table. Help me understand how you are dealing with the situation, for instance, at the Menchia Government Hospital here. Yesterday, when we came around, your offices were locked, meaning that your clients or your patients have no access to you at all. Have you noticed how these patients struggle before they are able to get laboratory services outside the premises of the facilities where you work?
Yes, I mean, it is true that our labs are even much cheaper than when you go to the private labs. And so we know the discomfort that the patients go through. And me, as a regional chairman of the association, I have not stayed there. I've gone around the hospitals. I've been to Centreso Hospital. I've been to Kumasi South Hospital. I've been to Tafo Hospital, monitoring the situation. And I tell you, it is the same everywhere. Lab scientists are so peeved with this situation. We are peeved because we felt that this issue should have been solved long ago and not wait for it to happen again. And so we share in the plight of the patient, how discomforted they are because they will now be going to private labs and then pay huge sums of money. But there's nothing that we can do about it. And that is why we are calling on the government to also help us resolve this issue. Let us leave the superpower out of this. Because when the IET committee sat on this issue, they brought their recommendations and it was clear. Let me also quickly use this opportunity also to clarify what Smith, who is the head of your health desk, also spoke about last. Smith. Yes, Will Smith. In his report, he said that the IET committee recommended that the live physicians are the one who are supposed to. No, it is not the IET committee who recommended that, but rather it was a Ghana College of Physicians and Surgeons who recommended that those phrases or those sentences be inserted into the lab policy that needed to be launched.
All right. So Mr. Edu is the Ashanti Regional Chairman of the Laboratory Scientists Association here. But Mama B, with me here is a patient who is currently at the Menchia Government Hospital in need of laboratory service here. Let's find out from her what she's been going through and what she makes of this whole exercise. Are you married to say?
I don't know, Papa.
Yo, Mami Misa say, "Ediana krata be nekuta we."
Acha me dey colony ba hospital no me say me be hwe ne moja. And I'm the bar, I'm saying, me TV in this one, and I'm there.
My only so kakra near and two. What did about hospital almost a day?
I'm saying, me fan of call tell me by the nurse and then me bar has said, me TV no one, sana.
So, Mama V, what she's telling me is the fact that she brought this gentleman here to the hospital, and here she's been asked to go to the laboratory to test his blood. But the unfortunate thing is that the labs are closed, so there's no, clear-cut way for her now. And two free idea now, obey there now. Yeah, sure, obey if you say lab before no was strike.
Yes, Yamina Mesha say, obey my umpire. No, Matimasha me ban sunny yale. Oh, yes, so dim.
And you saw the be free hack or baby and as obey.
Never charm and never go by me for a buy.
What do you feel in a buy?
Me flash off.
All right, so she has come all the way from Masafo in search of medical care for this boy. But as it stands now, the laboratory scientists are on strike. The only option is that she has the faith in God with the hope that God will sort of answer her and then the small boy here. And she tells me probably she may have to go outside the hospital and seek services somewhere. And so this is not the only person affected here at the Menchia Government Hospital. I must say a lot of the patients who were just behind us, some of us we have spoke to earlier, indicated that they've gone through the same issue and then they are waiting for a few minutes before they walk out of the premises of the hospital here. So that's the situation from the Menchia Government Hospital in the Ashanti region.
Well, thank you very much, Ohime. It's not pleasant at all how things are unfolding with patients simply having no idea where they can even get the same services offered to them. Ohime Terry reporting live from the Menchia Hospital in Kumasi. This whole issue sounded very simple at the very beginning, with 2 persons appointed at the Komfanochi Teaching Hospital. And these lab scientists want them removed. It's now escalated. We're talking a nationwide action with great impacts. And the situation is even sad in places where there's no opportunity for private laboratory services. So it's day 2 of this action. We will keep updating you and be telling you when there is new development on this matter. Stay with us. Up next, we're talking personal branding. Questioning, does appearance matter? What's your answer to that? Stay with us.